Hey, what is up, guys? This is Lumi Lamayindi. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Blade Podcast, a podcast about video production, post production, and marketing. So, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that is really, really interesting and dear to my heart. So, today, we're going to be talking about how to make a low budget feature film. I'm going to be sharing some of my tips and some of my tips that I've learned from watching different videos and producers in the film industry. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. So if you ever wanted to make a feature film and you are keen and maybe you might not have that much money, I've got news for you. There's a way that you can do it. I've tried to make a feature film 3 times and failed, but I've learned a lot of things from doing that. So I have shot 3 features, which I turned into web series because I just felt like they were not good enough. In fact, if I wasn't a better person, I would have just destroyed the footage. But because I knew that this was a learning process, I turned them into web series and put them online to test them out and see. So I can always go back and see what I did right and what I didn't do right. Okay, cool. So this is obviously a super indie, low budget way of doing it. Obviously, you can do it the studio way where you get like 100 million from a big studio. But if you don't have a studio in your hometown, you're going to have to produce it yourself. Okay, so this is a straightforward, cutthroat way. It might be a little intense, but here we go. So I think that in order for you to make a feature film, you need to make a feature film that is simple. It needs to be set in a location that you control, or like your house or your apartment or your dad's house or your mom's house, whichever place where you can get permission for. The first thing, you need to be able to have access to that location. And versus asking for favors, because when you ask for favors, people usually change their minds. And we're going to do it the reverse way. So this is not even before you've written a script, but you're going to write a script around all these things. So you're going to write a 1-location film script with 2 actors. Your script should have flashback scenes. So the reason I say this is that I need to make an example. So I wrote a mystery thriller horror feature film about a detective who investigates ritual crimes across an unknown town, and had so many characters and so many cast members, extras, epic scenes. And I realized I couldn't fund this by myself because every time I did the budget for it, it was really, really high. Until I wrote another script whereby I was like, this can be shot in 1 location with 2 actors. And I wrote a script around that. I wrote a thriller. And the reason I did this is because this is really cheap to do. And I know having 2 actors sounds really dramatic, but there's a lot of great 2-hander films that are out there, like Hard Candy, Creep 2. And those movies are incredible. The reason I say only 2 actors is that, you'll have people that are really invested in the film. And obviously you will have to spend less on, paying people. Or even if you give them equity in the film, you can share a bigger equity in the film, with just having 2 actors. And also the reason I say have flashbacks in your movie is that you want to use the same house a lot of time. So my rule is that if you shoot in 1 location, you're going to shoot in 1 room 3 times. You're going to shoot a day scene in that room, a morning scene, and a night scene. And each of these night and morning scenes, you're going to shoot at different angles. This will help you use the location more than once. So, like, for instance, you can have 3 kitchen scenes, 3 bedroom scenes, 3 living room scenes, and 3 patio scenes. And they can all be at different times and shot from different angles. So I think this is a cool hack, and it's something that can help you make a feature film that you can do and control, where you don't have to run around and look for funding and financing and begging people to fund your film, where if you have a location and you have access to 2 actors or even 5, it's much easier for you to make things happen. And those are the lessons that I've learned from making 3 feature films. And I think It's just about re-engineering, looking at what you have, what props you have, what can you get, and write for those people. A lot of these type of films, they can be a romantic movie, it can be a thriller, it can be a horror, it can be anything that you like. The only thing holding you back is your imagination. And the cool thing about this, if you do this, you can do it again and do it again until you make a really killer film and you're practicing your craft, and you are gonna get better, because it's one thing to think about it, but it's another thing to actually do it. Another few cool tips that I've learned from watching a webinar from my favorite producer, Jason Blum, who owns Blumhouse Pictures. They do horror movies. I watched a webinar where he was talking about you need to make small movies. Small movies you can make by hook or crook. As something that you can make for no money, and always think about the budget when writing, because that's just something that he does. The reason they make so many movies is because most of their movies are one location movies, and they have little like 1 to 5 speaking roles. They don't have too many speaking parts. They don't have too many locations or stunts or set pieces. And if you can actually watch their movies, most of them are one location films, like Insidious, Sinister. Like, it's crazy. Even Don't Breathe is a one location film. Most of it, 90% of that movie is in one location. So it's just something that can help you make a movie easier. And it doesn't mean because you wrote a fantastic script, you're not going to do it. You can just put it on a shelf and plan to do it later when you do have money and you do have a big name and you can get financing, because spending time looking for funding and begging people, you'll never get to make something done. You always hear people say, it took me 7 years to make this movie. And I'm thinking, yeah, 7 years. Imagine if you made a lot of smaller movies. You would be such a better filmmaker by then. And you don't have to try to do what the studios do. You can literally be a rebel and do your own thing. I really believe in this. And because I've tried it 3 times, I've gotten better over the years, and I'm planning to do it again, because I feel like this is the only time where I have full control over the production. But yeah, so I think that's it for today, guys. I think these are the rules and things that actually they're not rules. You can say they're tips on how you can make a low budget feature film. It's possible. You can even watch other low budget feature films and see how they made them. But it's really possible. Okay, guys, this is an episode of The Blade, the podcast about video production, post-production, and marketing. Until next time, guys, peace out.